What's up? What's up?
Hey man, how are you, James?
Doing good, man. Happy to be here with you, and for you to be able to share a little bit about what you've been doing and what you've been up to, man.
Man,
So, so yeah,
been
so
busy, busy, busy.
busy, 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 busy. Once again, we do these every Thursday at 11 o'clock. We're interviewing an agent that's killing it in their marketplace, that's able to provide tremendous value. And got here with Craig. Craig has been on here before. However, Craig is up to some new stuff. so uh,
Yeah,
so I'm excited to kind of dive into some of the things that that you're getting into. But for some of the people that didn't see you before, I always like to do the journey, right? The journey of getting into real estate. What was that process like? Why did you get into this commission-based industry from the beginning? Can you just kind of give us a little backstory behind that and how you got to where you are right now?
sure, sure. So, my journey in the real estate was, I actually had to sell a house, and I moved several times before that, and I really didn't ever have a good real estate agent. So I was like, well, I'm just going to do it myself. So I went and got my license, sold my house, listed it, sold it in 3 days. I actually started out at Coldwell Banker. Um, didn't know anything about EXP at the time. Coldwell Banker is all right. It's a good company. It's a well-known brand. But to be honest with you, I had my success letter hanging on the wrong wall. Now I got it on the right wall. So it's at EXP now. So um, a lot of success coming up. So that's how the journey started, and it just went from there. And I've been with EXP a little over a year ago. August was so a year and a half now. So that's where I am, man.
Yeah, yeah. Man, it's funny because like I kind of inadvertently got my license as well. I was a real estate investor at first, and then in the process of me finding homes for myself and kind of dealing honestly with bad agents, and most I ain't gonna say a lot of agents are bad, but the ones that I was dealing with, I didn't feel like they were actually finding me the properties that I needed, so I went and got my license for
Mhm.
that reason.
Yeah, I
Um,
wouldn't say that there's bad agents. They just don't know what they don't know,
there you
you
go.
know.
Yep.
So,
I mean, that's the reason why we're doing this right here because, like, we want to provide tremendous value and get our some of the people in the industry that needs it in order for them to actually grow their business in order to
mhm.
and grow from there.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, we've all been there. When we first started, just trying to figure it out. No matter what level, whether it was your first year, your fifth year, if your 10th year, whatever. We're
Mhm.
all striving to get to the next level, right?
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that kind of leads into me starting a team, so called Unleashed Advisors, which is really cool. Um, the wonderful thing about that is what you were just talking about. I got a lot of new agents. I mean, I got 5 agents on my team right now, and they're all pretty much brand new. And it's cool to see them go through the entire process of getting their license, becoming an agent, getting on board with EXP. There's a step process to everything that they're doing, and I'm just trying to guide them the best way possible through that whole process and get them up and running and get them their first deals. So it's been really cool over the last couple months. You know, I have an agent that just have her first contract this week. So she's all excited about that, So now we're doing the inspections and all that stuff, getting her down that path. And I have an agent today that actually closing on her second property today. So that's been really cool. So
Yeah.
every agent is always in a different season in the real estate world, and it's just nice to come alongside of them and try to help them out the best I can, and just get them to grow more and more and more. So, but that's been kind of neat.
Man,
So,
your transition, man, honestly, just coming from a year ago has been huge. Just when we first started talking and to be honest with you, man, like you was talking a little bit before this, kind of cracking jokes. I mean, you probably one of the first people that when I reached out to, he was like, "Hey, man, stop! I don't want to hear nothing. I'm coming. I already know about it. I'm coming. I'm there." And just kind of seeing that energy and your self independence of growth from that as you were selling houses by on your own, and then now you transition just from the information and from the model and some of the stuff that we've been able to do to now getting your own team. Talk about that, Craig. What made you get to the point where like what, I'm gonna start my team.
Well, it was just, I sit there and kept thinking about it, thinking about it, thinking about it, and then it came up like, if not now, when? So I just like, well, let's just do it. Let's just go. You know, and my wife was my first team member, so she just jumped right in. And that was after the Cabo thing. So she was like, yeah, let's go. We're all in. So we're all in. And once we did that, it was just a matter of just building relationship with other agents that were out there that were wanting to know what we did and how we did it, and then just getting them started in the process. I mean, it was kind of funny. My first information, I went into the world and was in the team room. You showed up and just said hello, just because I was talking to somebody about how do I do this, how do I get it set up, and then, you just popped in there and said, hey, Greg, what you doing? So it was kind of funny. So I was like, hey, man, I'm getting ready to start a team. And he's like, you're like, awesome. So it was just cool, and just the whole process of just, being able to brand myself the way I wanted to brand it, and just doing the things that I wanted to do. EXP made it really easy for me to do that.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, when you said that, it just made me think back. Like, I mean, I literally, I was in the room, and it's funny because like people that don't really understand like our model and what things look like. But I had my avatar, in one of the offices where you were had your avatar in there, and you was actually talking to one of the members at EXP. And I saw it and I just popped in. I like, hey, what's up, Craig? How you doing? I just want to say
Yeah,
what's up.
it was funny. So,
Yeah, you told me then. He's like, man, I'm getting the information because I'm going to start my team. I was like, awesome, man. Anything I can do to help, just let me know.
yeah,
And next thing you know, we I met with your wife when we went out to Cabo, and then we met up at Dallas, and
yeah,
then next thing you know, I'm hearing like your wife quitting her good paying job. So
very
for some
good
of
paying
people
job.
to and going into real estate full time, literally burning the boats and going
Yeah,
right.
we burned them big time. So it's been awesome. It's been a fun experience, and it's just, it just allowed us to grow, build relationships the way we want to build the relationships, to build our brand the way we want to build it, and just continue to grow. I mean, EXP has just opened up all kinds of doors for me to do that and be able to do that. This is wonderful. So,
Yeah,
I was telling you, just, my whole career with Coldwell Banker, it's interesting that Coldwell Banker, you can grow, you maybe become a broker or something like that with them, but it's just limited to a certain extent. EXP is not. There's just no limitations of what you can do and where you want to do it. There's just so many options of how you can do it. It's whatever you want to do. Make it your own. So
yeah,
that's a big difference for me.
yeah. I
So
think I talked to your wife and she was saying that y'all had a few more people that you were connected with that are getting their license. They're going through class and stuff now.
yeah, we have one actually passed her test last week, and hopefully she'll be on board here before too long. And then I got another one that's getting ready to take her test in the next couple weeks. And then I got another one in June that'll be coming on board. And then I'm talking to another two agents that are here in this area that are already licensed and are looking for places to go. So
Yeah, man.
so we're expecting some amazing growth in this year at least. So, and then we'll just move forward. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to try to do my best to build relationships and bring them on board.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, man. I mean, you're doing, very, very well, man. Honestly, I mean, I mean, most people would love to be able to have the amount of growth and expansion that you're experiencing now. Not only just that aspect of it, but like you said, you got another two that's coming on board, and then you got another two that you're talking to right now. So your team can grow to like 9 people within a year span, and
Yeah.
so just the mentorship of that you're doing with your team members, but also like just the freedom and the leverage that you're building. You know what I'm saying? So everybody wants to get free, but don't everybody know how to do it.
Right.
This model helps you to do that, right?
Yep, it does. So, and the nice thing about it is, I don't want everybody to be on my team forever. I want them to go out and do their own thing, and build their own team. So, that's kind of what I'm doing. Just try to help everybody grow. I really, it's not really about me. I want somebody else to do more. So that's been kind of the fun part about the whole team aspect is to watch agents grow and develop them and just get them going. You know, so
Man,
you know,
that didn't always exist, man. Just to be honest with you. So like I had a team, before I switched over, and to be honest with you, I mean, as a team leader, you really never want your agents to be you, because if they
hmm
become you, that means they were leaving the team.
right,
So every team leader has the same issue. They're trying to add enough value and make situations where their top agents never leave, but the top agents leave.
yeah, they're gonna leave either way. So I want them to leave. I want them to do their own thing. It doesn't do me any good. It doesn't do EXP any good for them to, let them grow, let them develop their own business in this model, and it'll pay you too. So
Yeah, yeah. Now, man, I mean, it's the whole deal. I had 3 of my agents that I had that was on my team that was able to leave my team and then start their own thing and have their own identity and just kind of build from there, but still stay within the umbrella, right?
right,
So, like, everything that I've been able to do to initially grow my team and get everything going, I share that stuff back with them. So I'm always giving. So like
yeah,
now I want them to be bigger than me, within this model. Like, hey, don't be me, be bigger than me.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. There you go. So that's the awesome thing about EXP. So it does no benefit for everybody just to not help each other out because we all you know as they say water raises all ships. So let's go. So
yeah, man. So man, we ended up I ended up meeting like a few of your team members. Um,
yeah,
we did a training, and they're like everybody's so energetic. Everybody's willing to learn. Just get their hands in the mud and just start taking on everything, man. I know you kind of met them through just connections and talking to them or whatever, man. But tell me, man, like how does that journey happen? Like how does that feel, being able to help those agents?
feels really good. So is it John Kitchens always preaches right step in the right order? I'm kind of feeling like that right now. Is like my agents are all kind of in different areas of the journey. So I'm trying to keep them where they're, this is step one, this is step two, this is the right order. You got to go down this process to get to where you want to go. Sometimes they'll jump ahead and I'm like, no, let's come back to step three where you were, and then we'll just keep, we'll get going there eventually. So it's been an interesting process as far as that goes. As far as meeting all these people, it's just been a variety of people. One of them was a former client of mine that I sold a house to 2 years ago. So, she just had an interest in it and was like, well, let's do it. Go get your license, see what happens. So she did, and now she's on my team. So she's excited and she's learning. So I expect her to have a house under contract any day now. So it'll be nice. So, which
Man,
is, it's kind of tough right now in the market because of everything. Inventory is so tight, but that's the way it is. So,
one of the things that I know we kind of talked about when we were at one of your meetings is just kind of like lead generation and things of that nature. So like what are some of the the different things that you've been able to do to help the agents, the lead generation?
So I bought some leads for them and stuff like that, but that's just to get them started. Op City, I got them all on Op City, which is that's just kind of fill the holes. But the other thing is I'm trying to develop them to where they're actually really trying to reach out to their sphere of influence and then get to know them people. Just making sure that they look at everybody as a potential client instead of just somebody. That this person might actually need to buy a house or need to sell a house. And we're getting there. So it's just, a matter of just following through on it and them understanding that, they have to change their perspective. It's a mindset change a little bit for them. So where they have to actually view everybody a little bit different as far as who they are. They're all prospects now. So, and just, trying to get them to build relationships. So that's the other thing is that, I had a talk with one of my agents yesterday about, they'll talk to somebody on the phone. They'll go immediately try to get them to show a house or get a sell. And I'm like, let's build that relationship just a little bit. Let's have a face-to-face because you're going to do a face-to-face better than anything. So they understand who you are and you understand them a little bit better. So then you to commit to you as their agent. So that's been a real big process.
Yeah, I mean, it's so many people, man, that I mean, their whole process is like, hey, I'm gonna send them to the lender. We're gonna go start seeing houses. I'm gonna try to get you, get somebody under contract, and like you're not even in relationship with the person yet. How are you gonna actually get somebody to trust you to get them under contract if you're not even in relationship with first?
Yeah, and a lot of that's driven by some of the, like an Op City lead or something like that. Then people are just they're wanting to look at a house right then and there, and let's step back and let's build that relationship with them so we actually understand who they are. So that's a big difference in how we need to run our business and that we're trying to strive for right now. So
Man, like I think ultimately one of the biggest things that you said was just kind of building the brand. Once you get that brand going, you're gonna start getting people that's gonna be coming to you rather than you having to chase them. And I think that's what a lot of times with the internet leads. I mean, you need leads, period, right? Regardless.
yeah,
But with the internet leads, a lot of times, like you are kind of chasing those people as opposed to building a brand and having those people chase you. And you can only do that through relationships, right?
yeah, exactly. And in the conversation I was having with that agent yesterday was, I literally broke it down for her. I said, hey, these are the leads that you're chasing, and you're chasing, a lot of bad stuff. But you have all these other ones over here that you have a relationship where that is where your money is. That's where you need to be chasing. That's who you need to focus on. So keeping the focus on the right people is a big challenge too. Sometimes you get focused on one that's just dragging their heels for some reason or another, and then all of a sudden you have these people over here, they have what you need. Go find them something. So it's just getting hooked onto the right people at the right time, and building that relationship with those people.
Yeah.
And all those were sphere of influence people too.
Man, so like I mean, I know it's harder sometimes when you're doing something and you're used to it, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
how you used to being able to go out and make things happen for yourself, but that whole transition into having other people to kind of fall in in line
Yeah.
and do the same thing.
I actually have to step back sometimes and realize that it's not. I've been doing it for a little over 4.5 years now. And I'm like, okay, I know way more than what they know. So I need to understand what they don't know to help them out. So it's been a process. And it's been a process for me to do that and just step back and say, hey, this person's not speaking the same language that I'm talking. So I need to step back and just go back to square one. And, this is step one. This is where we are, So it's been kind of funny. It's been fun. There's been a lot of challenges of that, And just like, I invited you to speak. We had like a 3-day mini boot camp just where I could get everybody, just talk about KV Core one day. KV Core alone is just a beast in itself. So just getting everybody taught up on that is a good thing. But then, you came on and spoke about, you know, real estate, and it was great for them to learn all that stuff. And they're like, man, that was great information. The problem is that you're out there selling houses. All of a sudden, you forget that you have all this information available to you that you need to go watch a video in the world or something, or hook up on honey badgers or hook up on agent builders and go watch some of the videos that are there. Learn from them people. It's just finding the time to actually do that. So
Yeah. Man, like I mean, as a team leader, I mean, I would imagine, what you're dealing with right now is just more of you're training and you're guiding, right? So it's like
hmm
part of it is like, hey, you're gonna get right in with them and you're gonna show them, exactly your experience itself. But then at the same time, you kind of have to be a guide because you don't want your voice to get to the point where like, all right, that's just Craig, something like that.
yeah,
So I'm always, I always used to like kind of if I can get somebody to come in and kind of share, and normally like it ain't rocket science, right? I mean, the
no,
process for real estate is just the same. You just kind of you copy from the top. You find the people that
hmm
do something at the top, repeatable systems, and you just use those systems and you train on that. But if you're doing it versus somebody else is doing it, sometimes they hear it more. It's kind
yeah,
of like with my wife sometimes, like if we're having the discussion and I'm telling her something and she hears me, but she doesn't really hear me. But then she, a stranger comes up and they say the exact same thing. She's like, you know what? So and so was saying this, and I'm like, man, this is the same thing I told you. Like, but at the end of the day, as long
yeah.
as you get it, as long as you get it, right?
Yep, that's right. So that's been a wonderful thing too. My broker's like, hey, just send them my way. I will train them for you. So I'm like, cool. There's so they got classes set up and all that stuff where go over the contracts. They got a rookie round table and they go over certain items every week. So it's pretty cool in that respect too. So
Yeah.
then you have all your training out there, just getting them plugged into that and getting plugged in the honey badgers, getting plugged in the agent builders, and then some of the stuff that I do, it's pretty beneficial for them. So,
Yeah. What would you what all right, so what advice would you have for an agent, right? That they've been an agent for a while and they're looking to build leverage. I mean, because if we're just being straightforward, the whole point of you building a team is to build leverage. You're helping people, and they're helping you, right? Zig Ziglar always says the best way for you to get what you want is to help another other people get what they want.
mm-hmm.
So it's the same process with that. But for an agent, they're a single agent. They've been selling, and they want to go into this team model. What advice would you have for them for that person?
My advice would just be jump in and do it.
Yeah,
If not now, when? That's kind of been our motto here: is if not now, when? And you just have to do. You'd have to take the action. Or if you don't, you're not ever going to get there. So that's my biggest advice. Just go do it.
yeah,
Be prepared, do a little bit of research on what it takes, and then just jump in. You know, so
yeah.
that's the
That
biggest thing.
I love that, man. And that's almost that's a Tony Robbins thing, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's how
it is.
it's like
So
just go do it now.
yeah,
Just do
why
it.
wait? Just go do it.
Yep,
And then I got over that. I was like, oh, well, I don't want to do that. I'm scared to do that. Well, get over your fear. Go do it.
yep,
Just jump in and do it. So that's the biggest thing I would say to people. Um, yeah, the other cool thing is that actually you speak of Tony Robbins in August. I'm taking my whole team to Dallas to see him. So
man.
that's going to be a good experience for them, and a lot of growth going on there.
Yep.
So
Man, like me, those events in and of itself, like honestly, I always tell everybody, like, if you want to change your situation, you got to change your mind first. You can't do
yeah,
one without the other. So those events in and of itself, I mean, that's what it is. It's a changing of the mind. Like that's what you're going there for. You know, you're where you are right now because of how you think currently.
Hmm.
And the only way for you to get to where you want to be, you have to think differently. You know,
You have to have a paradigm shift in the way you think. I mean, it's a true mind shift on the process of how you think about things. And once you do that, then it really opens up doors to where you want to go and how to get there. So, you know, so other thing I say a lot of is focus on the what and the why. Don't so worry about the how. You know, the how will come. You know, but if you know what and the why, then everything else will just fall in line. So,
man, I love that, man. I mean, you're saying that I'm literally thinking about things that I've done in the past, and I didn't know how it was going to get done. I just knew it, you know,
it
the
was going to
way
happen.
it was going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I knew that was the same way with you and your team. Like, I mean, you knew, like, when you found out there wasn't a why with the team, like, you know, it was, you knew it was going to happen from that. You didn't know how it was just going to.
No, it's just gonna happen. So
Yep. So, and a year later, 7 agents and two more on the way.
yeah, so we'll get there. So I mean, the goal for me for the end of the year is like 20 agents. So we'll see if I get there or not. But I have a feeling I am. So
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know how.
Don't know how, but the who the why is there, right?
Yeah. So,
Well, awesome, man. Like, man, I really have enjoyed, partnering with you. I've enjoyed just the growth, man. Like, to be honest with you, like, it's no better feeling than to see somebody take hold of the horns of a bull and start to just kind of go for it. And that's what you've been doing. You know,
yeah.
you brought your wife into it. Y'all going, y'all are both just grabbing that horn and y'all just riding it, right?
Yeah, we're hanging on tight. So
So that journey, man, like, I mean, I've really enjoyed watching that journey. And like I said, you say 20 agents, man, I'm saying 20 agents. To build a team and just kind of grow from there. I'm aligning up with your goal, buddy.
there you go. So that's awesome. I will say this, James, you've been a really true partner for me. I mean, it's just been really cool to, every time I've called you, you're like, hey, what can I do for you? You know, that's awesome. Even like, Dan Hillsman and all those guys, you know, you know, Levi and Andre, they're always been there, and it's been it's been fun. I can always pick you guys' brains. So
Yeah. Nah, man. It's. I mean, our group that we got some really good leaders that are helping and growing, and the biggest thing is just somebody getting plugged in, and that's why I say, like, you one of those action takers, and if you're an action taker, I mean, you can get plugged into this and you just take off, man. So I
yeah,
appreciate you, honestly.
so I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. So once again, like I said, we do these every Thursday at 11 o'clock. We're interviewing an agent that's killing in their marketplace. Craig, what's your marketplace, man? We got to put it out there.
Greenville, South Carolina, anywhere in the upstate of South Carolina, I'll take you and show you a house or list your house for you.
Yep.
So
So
yeah,
anybody that's looking to buy a home in Greenville, South Carolina, I can't think of a better real estate agent that's going to be able to kill it with a team that's going to be able to help like no other. I mean, I always make the analogy when I'm talking about like team building. Um, when you go to a restaurant, the same person that greets you is not the same person that takes your order, and the same
yeah.
person that takes your order is not the same person that cooks the food. The
Yeah,
same
that's
person
another cool thing about my team, man. Is my team will literally, if like somebody needs help showing a house or something like that, my team was like, "Yeah, I'll help you." It's really cool to see that grow that way. So it's been
that
nice.
Yeah, I mean, and you want different specialties, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I don't want the bus guy cooking my food. The guy that's buffing the tables or cleaning the table.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that guy cooking my food. Like, the service is not going to be the same, right? In that
Right.
scenario. But right now, like I said, I know that Craig is going to be able to not only find you a home or sell your home for top dollar, but the service aspect is going to be there because of the people that he have created around him. So
Right.
So anybody, that's looking to buy or looking to sell, or if you want to know about partnering with Craig, I mean, definitely reach out to him. He's killing it. He's going to grow, and he can help you grow as well. So I appreciate it, man. And like once again, like I said, every Thursday at 11 o'clock, we're interviewing somebody that's killing in their marketplace. Craig, I appreciate you for sharing. And to the next one, buddy. Hey, I'm
All
looking
right.
forward. I got to have you back on when you hit that 20.
All right, we'll do.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right.